Crab's Journal 13. The first month or so was pretty rough. Oh, I don't mean the work or the demands Mary made on me to learn skills that would raise me to a notch above useless on the evolutionary scale. Mostly I enjoyed that part. But I wasn't, as you might think, having problems controlling my animal urges with this beautiful woman around. I had them, I'm not saying I didn't, but Mary didn't come on like the women on TV. Either syrupy smiles, big fluttery eyes, or an air of helplessness, or more manly than a truck driver to prove she was liberated. No, she was just Mary. Hell, I was the helpless one, not her. The real problem was that I was still having trouble getting along without my pal, Silent Sam. It wasn't easy stopping dead like that, and I don't know what made me think that I wouldn't need it when I ran away. I never really lost the desire for a talk with Sam during the day. It was a bit of a slow burn, but once or twice, usually if it was in the afternoon, or usually if I was taking a break, I'd really get the craving. I'd get jumpy and bitchy and lose all patience. This state would pass after a while. Mary was pretty good about it. She picked up pretty quickly on what was happening and began to watch for my bad moments. She'd often suggest we do something distracting, like go for a swim or have a canoe lesson, or go pick wildflowers along the ancient, disused railway line about a mile away. I'm ashamed to say I told her to bugger off and leave me alone a few times. One evening after supper, I was washing up the dishes cans, tin plates, bush knives, porcelain covered tin cups while Mary sat sipping Labrador tea. She'd been quiet for quite a while, and I recognized the look. Her graceful brows would tense up, her eyes seemed to go out of focus, and she tapped the end of her nose with her right forefinger. What's up? I said, more to break the silence than anything. Hmm? She looked up, her eyes locked in again. I think I have an idea, Crab. Yep, I think it might help. And standing, she turned on her heel and walked casually across the campsite into the bush. I knew where she was headed to that big pack she kept hidden from me, the mystery bag. She returned with something in her hand and reassumed her favorite seat on the log by the fire. Here, take this, she said, holding something out to me. It was a pipe, with an apple shaped bowl and a short stem, maybe 5 inches. My father smokes a pipe. He has 8,000 or so of the damn things, probably thinks they improve his corporate image, and he's forever stuffing the bowl, lighting, tamping, relighting, coughing, blowing Swedish aromatic smoke all over the house. He never seems to get the knack of keeping the thing lit, and so is always in the process of lighting rather than smoking. Racks of pipes litter the house, clay ones, wood ones, white, brown, yellow, even a red one, for God's sake. But this little pipe that Mary handed me across the fire was different. Not one bit of it was without a carving. And I don't mean elk's head or elephant feet or any of that crap. On the front of the bowl was a circle bisected horizontally with a curved line, like a stretched out S. It looked sort of like this. Around the circle were lines organized into little squares. The rest of the bowl and stem were covered with lines and leaves, all curled and twisting in and out, over and under, so if you followed a line with a finger, you could never find the beginning or the end. It was beautiful, delicate, yet strong. I held it, lightly tracing the lines, waiting for Mary to speak. I'm not sure about this idea I've got, Crab. God knows smoking is almost as stupid a habit as drinking. Her soft voice drifted across our little fire to the waning light. Still fascinated by the designs, I didn't look up. But, she continued after half a minute, maybe when you really want to drink, you could light up that pipe and it would take your mind off what's his name? Silent Sam. Yeah, Silent Sam. If you're careful not to inhale the smoke, perhaps you'll find it easy to break the habit once you don't need it anymore. Think it's worth a try? I don't know. I've got nothing to lose. Okay, here. She handed me a flat tin, Balkan Pride tobacco. I've got more of that if you need it. How come you? She cut in quickly. Never mind. Let's have another cut. Recognizing I was on the edge of forbidden territory, I shut up. We took our tea down to the bay shore and sat in our usual spot on the granite shelf by the little beach. The light was fading quickly now over our shoulders, and night noises were beginning to swell. Bats flitted out over the calm waters of the bay that reflected the darkening shadows of trees on the shoreline. Mary told me about the pipe. It had been made in China at least 50 years ago, carved by hand by the best briar in the world, then polished and polished and polished with a special oil. That's what gave it a curious patina, she explained. The carving was all very symbolic. The circle, she said, was something called the yin yang symbol. It expressed a certain basic philosophy of life and existence that emphasized the unity of life and the harmony of inner peace, or something like that. I couldn't quite follow her explanation. She talked on long after it got completely dark. It was the longest speech I had ever heard her make, and I was content to try and understand all the very deep stuff she was telling me while my fingers traced the lines on the pipe. After a while, I tried smoking it and managed fairly well for my first time. And I couldn't help but wonder where Mary got this knowledge she was pouring out on the dark, peaceful shore of our hidden bay. She knew a lot. She was dropping names I'd never heard of. I figured she must be university educated. And what she was saying, it wasn't the kind of rambling, shapeless talk you'd hear from most people. It was organized, as if she'd done this before. I looked at her as carefully as I could in the dark. She was with me and somewhere else at the same time. But the way she talked about the pipe in particular, I knew it was precious to her. Although I didn't know why, I guessed it had belonged to somebody she loved, and she'd given it to me. Worthless old crab. I didn't think her idea would work, to tell you the truth, but if she was willing to invest something of value of her on me, I was certainly willing to try. It worked out pretty well, as it turned out, in the passage of time. Once I got the knack of keeping the thing lit, I enjoyed it. When the craving for a talk with Sam came to me, pinching like an irritating iron clip around my brain, I'd stop whatever it is that I was doing, stuff the bowl with the weird smelling tobacco, light up, and puff away gently. Smoking sort of relaxed me. A special mood came with it. And sometimes, when we two were hiking out to check on snares or pick berries, I'd just hold the pipe in my hand, running my thumb over the design as we strode along. The wilderness and those never ending hand carved lines had a special effect on me.